It is critical to have the right man under center.
He has not been that guy for this team.
Yeah, I would not put Tua in a category of you win games because of.
Just because a guy delivers one year does not mean that he will the next. Let's take a look around the league at 5 QB1s that are poised to improve in 2024 and 5 that are on the decline. Improve, Justin Herbert. The media narrative around Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers is all about potential and untapped greatness. In some ways, the notion that he has underperformed has been a little bit unfair, to be honest, because the former Oregon standout has been one of the most impressive passers in the league ever since he broke into the NFL. I mean, think about it. He threw for over 4,300 yards and 31 touchdowns as a rookie, then followed that up with a massive 5,014-yard and 38-touchdown sophomore season. That said, he did have a bit of a down year in 2023, in large part due to injury and more broadly because, well, the Chargers as a whole were a bit of a mess. It was far and away the worst season of his entire pro career. And even then, he threw for 3,134 yards in 13 games and had a 20-touchdown to 7-interception ratio. That's not too shabby for a down year. But in any case, the expectation is that any of the negative sentiment around the QB and the team will change in a big way this year, since one Mr. Jim Harbaugh has come to the City of Angels. Harbaugh is a culture guy through and through, and he'll get the Chargers rowing in the same direction, which is really all that Justin Herbert needs at this point to get back on track and improve his play from his disappointing campaign last year. Decline, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was the Cinderella story of the 2022 season as he stepped in amid a flurry of injuries and led the 49ers on an unexpected playoff run. And he followed that up with the 2023 campaign that was so good that it actually inspired the wider sports media world to debate whether or not he was elite for the entire season. The media buzz is all about whether Purdy can handle the pressure of lifting this team over the proverbial Super Bowl hump as the starting quarterback. But watch out, Niners fans, because there is a very real chance that Purdy comes crashing back down to earth this season. We saw, as the last season wore on, that opposing defenses really started to get a better idea of how to prepare for him and neutralize his skill set. So, if things start off on the wrong foot for San Francisco this season and they stumble out the gate, I wouldn't be shocked to see things start to come apart at the seams for Purdy. Improve, Justin Fields. Justin Fields' final season in Chicago was a bit of a tough one, especially because of the increased expectations folks had for him after the Bears brought in star wide receiver DJ Moore. He only played 13 games and his passing numbers were right in line with the mediocre totals that he had put up in his first 2 seasons, whereas folks were really expecting him to take a big step forward. This was the nail in the coffin for the Justin Fields experiment in Chicago, as the Bears have since elected to use their first overall pick in the draft to bring top prospect Caleb Williams to town and subsequently shipped Fields out of town. The dual-threat quarterback landed in Pittsburgh, where he will be competing with former Super Bowl winner Russell Wilson for the starting job. But you know, don't be surprised if we see him end up snagging QB1 duties and having a bit of a renaissance under Mike Tomlin and his staff. The Steelers are loaded with talent and have the kind of organizational infrastructure that Fields could really thrive in, because that was just completely absent in Chicago. I'm just picturing George Pickens streaking down the sideline for a deep ball and Fields floating one in there, plus all the motion and deceiving runs that they can deploy around their rushing attack. Look, just saying, all signs are pointing to a major improvement for Justin Fields this year. Decline, Jared Goff. We gotta give credit where credit is due. And when Jared Goff arrived in Detroit after getting jettisoned out of Los Angeles in favor of the veteran, now Super Bowl winning Matt Stafford, he did so largely as an afterthought. The media pegged Goff as a sitting duck, a bridge quarterback, someone that was going to take the snaps and likely the hits, while the Lions continued to flounder about trying to find a true franchise QB. Goff, however, has continued to raise his level each season in Detroit under Dan Campbell, and his Lions have continued to exceed expectations. This year, unfortunately, will be a bit of a different story. We saw something similar play out during Goff's tenure with the Rams, where once the team started to really gain notoriety around the league and have actual expectations put on them, their signal caller struggled to answer the bell. Coming off the NFC Championship game appearance, the expectations are going to be sky high in the Motor City, and that could spell doom for Jared Goff and the Lions faithful. Improve, Trevor Lawrence. We are now 3 years removed from the Urban Meyer debacle in Jacksonville, and It's time for Trevor Lawrence to either rise to the occasion and meet the admittedly massive expectations that the media and the NFL had for him coming out of Clemson, or he is going to go down as a bit of a disappointment, at least within the realms of a number 1 overall pick. After all, this is a guy that people said was supposed to be a generational talent. The most can't-miss prospect since Andrew Luck. And you know, Lawrence has looked markedly better since the aforementioned Meyer has left Jacksonville, particularly at the beginning of last season. Jacksonville's collapse down the stretch of last season was a little bit troublesome, but most folks close to the league believe that Lawrence was suffering silently from ailments to his arm and his back. So, heading into this season, his health should be replenished and his confidence renewed, especially now that the Jaguars have added key offensive pieces with the likes of former Bills deep threat Gabe Davis and rookie speedster out of LSU Brian Thomas Jr. at wide receiver. So, look out for Lawrence to take a big leap forward this year down in Duval. Decline Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' move to the New York Jets was one of the biggest stories of 2023. However, the narrative shifted dramatically following Rodgers' Achilles tear early in the 2023 season. And when we say early, oh boy, for those of you who don't remember somehow, it was really damn early. You know, a handful of snaps into the season early. The kind of early that could only really happen to the New York Jets. But in any case, heading into this season at 40 years old, Rodgers faces significant challenges in recovering from such a severe injury. Achilles tears are notoriously difficult to come back from, particularly for older athletes. The rehabilitation process is long and arduous, requiring extensive physical therapy to regain strength and mobility in the affected leg. Even with the best medical care and training, there is no guarantee that Rodgers will return to his previous level of performance. It's hard to believe that his best days aren't now officially behind him. Improve? Will Levis. Will Levis is one of the most intriguing young quarterbacks heading into 2024, even amid the organizational chaos in Tennessee following the surprising firing of longtime head coach Mike Vrabel. The media narrative around Levis and the Tennessee Titans is one of hope and potential after the first-year quarterback showed some serious promise and limited action during his rookie year. You know, prior to getting injured. Levis, who was originally taken by the Titans in the second round of the 2023 NFL Draft, entered the league with mixed expectations. But during those first couple of starts in his rookie season, Levis demonstrated all the attributes that had some scouts extremely bullish on him. He showed glimpses of his immense natural throwing talent, showcasing a strong arm, poise in the pocket, and the ability to make plays under pressure. Although his playing time was very limited, he left a lasting impression on both the coaching staff and the fan base. There's some added optimism surrounding Levis, with the Titans' proactive approach in the offseason to bolster the roster, particularly since the Titans front office finally made significant moves to improve the offensive line, addressing one of the team's most glaring weaknesses and providing Levis with the protection he needs to thrive. With more time in the pocket, Levis can fully utilize his arm strength and accuracy to dissect defenses and, well, not get injured. So look for a breakout year from the former Wildcat standout. Decline Tua Taga. Despite showing flashes of brilliance at points in his young career, Tua has been, well, consistently hampered due to injury. In 2023, he continued to have issues with concussions, and that was coming off the scary one that he endured the year prior, which not only limited his playing time, but also raised some very serious concerns about his long-term durability, especially when you consider that the Dolphins' offensive line, while improved, still has some big question marks. Last year, Tua was under constant pressure, especially against good competition, which contributed to his injuries and inconsistent play. And heading into this season, there will be immense pressure and expectations to deliver in Miami, despite the competitive AFC East, which are circumstances that Tagovailoa has not typically excelled in throughout his career. Maybe a tough road ahead for the left signal caller down in South Beach. But hey, wishing him the best of luck. Improve Bryce Young. Listen, this one, honestly, maybe a little bit of a pity pick, because frankly, we feel bad for Bryce Young. His rookie season could not have gone any worse. It was honestly kind of hard to watch, and not just because the football that Carolina was playing was so bad and unexciting, but because he was out there taking a pounding every single freaking week. The Panthers did a terrible job of setting him up for success, though. They shipped out a lot of their top players, on the offensive side of the ball too, like when they shipped DJ Moore to Chicago for pennies on the dollar. Then they thrust their rookie quarterback, who clearly was not ready for prime time, into the starting lineup and just let him get pummeled all year long. That said, it isn't just a sympathy selection here though. On some level, Bryce Young can only go up after his abysmal rookie season. Plus, the Panthers finally had the good sense to start investing in the offense around Young, particularly on the offensive line, where they added Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt at guard in free agency. Plus, former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Deontay Johnson to run routes alongside veteran Adam Thielen. Between the massive room for improvement, the new additions to his squad, and necessity of getting off the mat and raising his performance, we believe that former #1 overall pick Bryce Young will find a way to step it up this season. Decline Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry to say this, Falcons fans, as I know you've been through some quarterback pains over the last few years since Matt Ryan officially went over the hill, but I don't think that Kirk Cousins is going to be the magic bullet you guys are looking for to get this team back into true relevancy. Yes, even if he declines from his level of performance in Minnesota, which we expect him to, he will still likely be a drastic improvement over the two-headed monster that was Taylor Heineke and Desmond Ridder. But we still have a hard time buying that he'll be able to keep par with his own standards now that he's coming off an Achilles injury heading into his age 36 season, especially with the added pressure and bizarre dynamic of the Falcons having drafted Michael Penix Jr. in the first round shortly after signing Cousins under the pretenses that they would likely not be taking his predecessor in the draft. All reports suggest that he will be full speed ahead going into week 1. But it's hard to believe that there won't be any lingering effects from that injury that he suffered week 8 last year. So let's just say this. We are not expecting any serious returns on our Kirk Cousins stock this year. But hey, which quarterback do you think is most likely to improve in 2024? Which do you think is most likely to decline? Is there anyone that you would have included on this list? And who do you think we got right? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.